Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Savita. Today we are going to discuss about the module role of central and state government in promoting entrepreneurship under the paper Tourism and Hospitality Entrepreneurship and Legal Environment. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept of entrepreneurship development, the protective and promotional measures for the growth of SSI, describe the importance of central government incentives for setting up business in backward areas, and understand the various financial institutions which are providing loans for the growth of the business. New entrepreneurs start enterprises which are in small scale. The enterprise may a production unit or a service enterprise. In case of service enterprise, the funds required for fixed investment is generally small and working capital requirement may be relatively high. Whereas for a production unit, the funds required for fixed investment as well as working capital are sizable. There are many challenges in successfully operating a small enterprise considering its limitations on the finances, the technology adopted, market research, level of skill that it can employ, the quality of product or service that it can deliver, etc. Small enterprise has its own advantage of quick decision, low cost of production, low investment per employment created, etc. They are the backbone of the economy, hence require all the support from the government. Current scenario. The output of small-scale industrial sector contributes approximately 40% of the gross industrial value added and 45% of the total exports which are from India, whether direct or indirect export. Entrepreneurship is a vital source of change in all the facets of society, empowering individuals to seek opportunity where others see insurmountable problems. The entrepreneurs possess innovative and different ideas to achieve their goals and help build a better environment in their own sectors of expertise. In order to make their plans successful, there are different financing programs made available for the new entrepreneurs who are about to start their business, and also for the small business growths by the government. At the same time, knowing government help is available, there are certain entrepreneurs who are hesitant to get assistance from the government, which may be due to the fact that they are already financially sound and can manage their resources of their own. But with so much growth happening around and risk involved in new setups, the entrepreneurs should look into the aspect of government help and shall not hesitate and taking that. The government, whether central or state, will immediately provide the required capital assistance through the entrepreneur grants with which the entrepreneur shall be able to achieve a successful setup. Central government policies. The various central government policies are general policies, policies of reservation, price and purchase preference, reservation of items, licensing, trade policy, foreign investment regulations, labor policies, foreign direct investment approval, NRI investment approval, Ministry of Steel, steel products standard policy for manufacturing, notification number 414E 415E dated 12th March 2012. Industrial policies, priority sector. Northeastern policy, women entrepreneur, policy for tiny sector, cottage and village industries, handicrafts, khadi and handlooms, development of backward areas, funding and finance, taxation excise duty, credit policy, modernization and training, quality standard policy, energy and environment, pollution control measures, environmental control. Government provides a lot of support for entrepreneurs who are wishing to set up their own business or who already have one. The government provides grant to those businesses that are located in areas that have low employment and very little growth in India. There are incentives being given by the state and central government. Many of the incentives are provided sector-wise, which are being given by the concerned ministry. Now, we will discuss the benefits given by the central government for setting up business in rural areas. Indian central government and various state governments give numerous benefits and incentives to promote the basic manufacturing industries and for entrepreneurship development of rural areas. Both the state and central government share the cost of some of the incentives provided. The main aim of such incentives are to develop rural and backward areas and enhance employment opportunities for local inhabitants of such areas. The following are the basic incentives which are provided by the governments, that is, a subsidy at the rate of 15% of the investment amount in plant and machinery is given under the Capital Investment Subsidy Scheme. Next one, subsidies for transportation to promote industries in areas that are not easily accessible, like remote hilly areas. Under this scheme, a subsidy of 50% to 90% on transportation cost is available. A subsidy for interest relief is also provided at the rate of 3.5% for new industrial units in some areas. However, setting up an industry in India in the past was not an easy task because of bureaucratic requirements that needed to be fulfilled. The state and central governments have made efforts to improve some things. Government financial institutions for providing loans to start industrial ventures in India. Indian financial sector plays an important role in the overall development of the nation. Indian government, for the purpose of sufficient supply of credit to different sectors of Indian economy, has created valuable structure of financial institutions in India, depending upon the geographically coverage of their functions. These financial institutions can be classified into state level institutions and all India institutions. At the national level, FIs provide long term and medium term loans and advances at a very genuine interest rate. Their main functions are to underwrite public issue of shares, debentures issue of companies, guarantee loans and deferred payments, etc. On the other hand, the state level institutions are basically linked with the development of medium and small scale institutions, and they deliver the same type of financial help at the national level institutions. There are two main national level financial institutions which provide loans to the entrepreneurs, and these are Industrial Development Bank of India, that is IDBI. Industrial Development Bank of India aims to create a principal institution for long term finance to provide administrative and technical support to the industries, to coordinate the institutions which are working in this field for planned development of the industrial sector, and to conduct research and development activities for the benefits of industrial sector. Industrial Finance Corporation of India. The government established the Industrial Finance Corporation of India on July 1st, 1948 as the first development financial institution in India to deal with the long-term finance needs of the industrial sector. The newly established DFI were given low-cost funds through the central bank's statutory liquidity ratio, that is SLR, which in turn enable it to give advances and loans to the borrowers of corporate sector at concessional rates. The State Financial Corporations Act 1952, the SFCs are established in the various states for giving loans and advances to small and medium scale industries. There are 18 SFCs opening in 17 different states, including the Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation Limited and Delhi Union Territory. The SFCs are under the direct control of the relevant state government and the IDBI. the FSCs have similar functions to those of the IFCI. Its main function are to provide financial assistance in the form of advances and loans, underwriting of new issues, subscription to shares and debentures, and guarantee of loans. But in reality, they have concentrated mostly on advances and loans only. Therefore, a need for reorientation of their loans policy. There are 18 state financial corporations in the country, and these are Andhra Pradesh State Financial Corporation, Himachal Pradesh Financial Corporation, Madhya Pradesh Financial Corporation, Northeastern Development Financial Corporation, Rajasthan Financial Corporation, Tamil Nadu Industrial Investment Corporation Limited, Uttar Pradesh Financial Corporation, Delhi Financial Corporation, Gujarat State Financial Corporation, the Economic Development Corporation of Goa, Haryana Financial Corporation, Jammu and Kashmir State Financial Corporation, Karnataka State Financial Corporation, Kerala Financial Corporation, Maharashtra State Financial Corporation, Odisha State Financial Corporation, Punjab Financial Corporation, and West Bengal Financial Corporation. State Industrial Development Corporations, the SIDC, came on the scene much after the SFCs. Besides giving finances, these type of institutions perform a variety of functions, that is, licenses for industrial units, arranging for land, power, roads, sponsoring the establishment of such units, especially in backward areas, etc. It also provides working capital margin to the entrepreneurs as a term loan. Government schemes. The government schemes available for the industrial development of a state may be categorized as making available infrastructure at concessional or reduced rates and providing cash subsidy and incentives which amounts financial gains to the entrepreneur. These schemes are loans and subsidies at very attractive rates of interest, electric power supply at a reduced tariff, land at subsidized prices, or industrial sheds to set up small scale industrial units, and various tax concessions for a number of years. These may include exemptions from sale tax, etc., for a set period of time. Providing assistance for acquiring land. In case the entrepreneur requires land in particular area suited for his type of industry, government will notify the land for industrial use and acquire it by paying compensation to the owner of the land, which may be less than the market price, plus reducing the effort required to by promoter to deal with owners of the land and time involved. providing land in industrial area. Government, depending on its policy of dispersion of industries for uniform development of state, develops industrial are by providing roads, drainage, power, water, telecommunication and civic amenities so that entrepreneur can set up their industrial units in these fully developed industrial areas. Further, certain industrial areas are developed to house specific time industries such as electronic industries, software industries, pharmaceutical industries, etc. Such industrial areas are equipped with facilities required by the target industries. The cost of the land in such location is at cost basis, which is much less than the market price. Providing shed in industrial estates. Government constructs industrial sheds of different sizes in the identified locations and allocates them to the entrepreneurs, thus reducing the cost, time and effort involved. Such sheds are in fully developed estates or areas where roads, drain, power, water, etc. are available. The government schemes for making available financial incentives to entrepreneurs include the following: providing capital subsidy. The government, depending on its policy of dispersion of industries all over the state for all-round development, provides capital subsidy to make it attractive for the entrepreneurs to set up their units in backward district of the state. Even the industrial area and sheds are developed in the backward districts or taluks of the state. Concessions in the payment of stamp duty. In order to encourage entrepreneurs, government has given concession on the stamp duty applicable while registering the industrial land, which is a financial gain to the entrepreneurs who register the industrial land in their name. Sales tax concessions or deferment. New industrial units were given sales exemptions to the extent of twice the amount of investment made in the industrial units set up in the state. There used to be a scheme which exempts sale tax payment or remittance by the unit for a period of 3 years. Interest subsidy. The government extend interest subsidy on the loan extended to certain class of entrepreneurs such as women entrepreneurs or ex-servicemen, etc. The interest subsidy is in term of a percent or less. There are schemes which are require lesser contribution from women entrepreneurs in the equity contribution. Export subsidy. Government charges reduced interest rates for the funds involved in exports to promote export and to make the export price competitive in the market. funding the educational and industrial tours. The government extends subsidy and assistance to entrepreneurs to undertake a tour both within the country and abroad for visiting or participating in exhibitions. Income tax benefits. Income Tax Act 1961 under Section 80J, new industrial undertakings, including small scale industries, are exempted from the payment of income tax on their profits, which is subject to a maximum of 6% per annum of their capital employed. The exemption in tax payment is allowed for the period of 5 years from the date of commencement of production. In order to avail this exemption facility, a small scale industry has to satisfy the following two conditions. First one is the unit should not have been formed by the reconstitution or splitting of an existing unit. Second one, the unit should employ 10 or more workers in a manufacturing process with power or at least 20 workers without power. Rehabilitation allowance. According to Section 33B of Income Tax Act 1961, rehabilitation allowance is allowed to small-scale industrial units and the manufacturing small enterprises. The rehabilitation allowance is given to only those small businesses that had suffered because of the following reasons. Action taken in combating an enemy or action by the enemy, cyclone, flood, earthquake or other natural upheavals, civil disturbance or riots, explosion or accident fire. The rehabilitation allowance should be utilized within 3 years of the unit's re-establishment, reconstruction of revival for the business purpose only. This allowance is allowed to the industrial undertaking equal to 60% of the amount of the deduction allowable to the enterprise. Expenditure on scientific research. Following deductions in respect of expenditure on scientific research are allowed under Section 35 of the Income Tax Act 1961. The capital expenditure incurred on specific research must be related to the business of the assessee, but it is subjected to the provision of Section 35, subsection 2 of the Income Tax 1961. The revenue expenditure must be incurred on scientific research related to the business of the assessee in the current previous year. The sum that it pays to a scientific research association or a university, college, institutions, or to a public company which must have its objective of scientific research. Depreciation. A small-scale industrial unit is entitled to a deduction on depreciation on block of assets at the rates which are given under Section 32 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Depreciation deduction from the actual cost of plant and machinery is allowed subject to a maximum of rupees 20 lakhs In case of the small scale industry, diminishing balance method is used to calculate the amount of depreciation in case of an asset acquired before the accounting period. Depreciation is calculated on its written down value method. An additional allowance called extra shift allowance is available for the plant and machinery that is used in manufacturing in double or triple shift. A small scale industry should fulfill the various conditions before it becomes eligible for claiming the deduction in depreciation. This deduction of depreciation is allowed only on fixed assets, that is, building, machinery, plant, and furniture. The asset must be used actually in the business or profession of assessee. The asset must be allowed by the assessee. The income tax officer must be satisfied with all the prescribed particulars as required under section 34 subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act 1961. Investment allowance. In 1976, the investment allowance was introduced in order to replace the initial depreciation allowance. This allowance is allowed at the rate of 25% of the cost of acquisition of new plant or machinery installed as per section 31A of Income Tax Act 1961. Actually, the investment allowance has been made available for the things or the articles except certain items of low priority initially, but according to 11th schedule of the Income Tax Act 1961, a special dispensation has been provided for the plant and machinery installed in small scale industries. The important condition for claiming the investment allowance that the small scale industrial unit has put to use machinery or plant either in the immediate following year or in the year of installation, following which the benefit will be forfeited. The scheme of the government mentioned above are illustrative only. There are various schemes which would exempt industrial unit from power cut, development loans given at very nominal rate of interest, etc. Scope for further improvement in extending financial support to the entrepreneurs by the government. While government has been instrumental in providing credit flows to the SMEs and has made available subsidies to encourage entrepreneurs to set up their ventures in the backward areas of the country. There is scope for further improvement in there is scope for further improvement in extending financial support to the entrepreneurs which are listed below. That is, presently government subsidies are released over a period of time to SMEs. This can be made to set off against the taxes that are payable to the government. Thus, the subsidy amount is available to SMEs as soon as they start functioning, which can be used to repay bridge loans available to them. This can also be directly remitted to the loan account of entrepreneurs. Rope in the private sector bank to provide finance to SMEs in line with the nationalized banks in respect of duration, debt equity ratio and interest rates. Third one, considering the limitations of the SMEs with regard to the size, technology and the skill of the employees that they can furnish, etc. Schemes for reimbursing the portion of tax, whether sales tax or VAT paid to them to the government, can be withdrawn up. Make available the concessions in excise duty on the purchase of commercial transport vehicle used for transporting employees. The depreciation allowance, which can be up to 100%, need to be increased to the level of 150%, taking into consideration the inflation factor, which has reached double digit. Alternatively, make available a formula for computing depreciation in which factor of inflation is embedded. Fix a time limit for processing of loan applications of SMEs in financial institutions and banks. Create an agency to deal with NPA or closed industrial units to dispose of the assets and use of proceeds to repay the dues. A time limit can also be fixed, say 3 years for a sick unit to recover, beyond which it is referred to agency for disposing the unit. Thus, idle assets funds is put to productive use. Attach SMEs to laboratories and institutions such as IISs, CPRI, NAL, IIMs, etc., so as to enable SMEs to get technical advice, development of new products, different strategy from competitive agency at a nominal amount of fee. Various facilities available in the aided private educational institutions can also be used for this purpose. Provide enough funds with the banks for financing the requirement of SMEs by increasing the percentage of loan to be extended to priority sector. Allow reappropriation only during January to ensure earmarked funds is utilized for financing requirement of entrepreneur. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. Entrepreneurship is a vital source of change in all the facets of society, empowering individuals to seek opportunity where others see insurmountable problems. The entrepreneurs possess innovative and different ideas to achieve their goals and help build a better environment in their own sectors of expertise. In order to make their plans successful, there are different financing programs made available for the new entrepreneurs who are about to start their business, and also for the small business growths by the government. At the same time, knowing government help is available, there are certain entrepreneurs who are hesitate to get assistance from the government, which may be due to the fact that they are already financially sound and can manage their resources on their own. Thank you.